All right. And we are back from the Borealis 2025 Borealis Psychedelic Science Summit in Stockholm. My name is Yoshi, and I'm joined now by Dr. Ulf Bremberg. Ulf, warm welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. Yeah, we were just talking about the conference. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Day one is almost through. Have you had the chance to catch a lot of lectures?
Constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's too much, right? I wish I would be like 3 people at the same time.
Yeah, that would be nice.
One chatting with the audience and the 2 tracks following.
Yeah. Maybe we'll be there soon. In one of those Black Mirror episodes. Who knows?
Yeah, that would be something. Yeah.
That would be something indeed. For now, I'm happy with just one of me. That's more than enough. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you got to work in the psychedelic research field.
Yeah, so I'm originally a chemist, Master of Science in Engineering, and after a PhD and a postdoc, I went into pharmaceutical industry.
Okay.
So I've been in pharmaceutical industry for 20 years, doing some depression drugs, actually, obesity drugs, diabetes drugs, cancer drugs, a lot of different drugs. And after some 20 years, there was a friend who invited me over to actually the first NPV conference
okay.
in 2018, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then he suggested, maybe you should have a look at these new papers that are coming out of Imperial College and Johns Hopkins. And me as a researcher and pharmaceutical scientist thought that I know these compounds. I know psilocybin, I know LSD, because I read what was written about them.
Right.
And realized that, there is a story here that no one has told really, in my generation at least. Mm-hmm. A story that these compounds are not toxic, not addictive, and seem to have profound effects on things that are really relevant for those suffering from mental illnesses. So the early studies were so inspirational to me, so that when I saw that my work was focused on trying to cure cancer, you don't cure cancer with medicine mostly.
Right.
Most of the time you extend life a few months, if you're lucky, and you can handle symptoms of depression, you can handle symptoms of obesity and diabetes, but you can't really cure it. Mm-hmm. So then when I saw the data here and the fast, profound, and seemingly lasting effects, I thought, this got to have a chance on really being tested. So I shifted my... I've been starting a few companies over the years. So I was then into cancer research in a very small startup company. And then I decided, no, let's shift to psychedelics instead. Mm-hmm. So that's what I've been doing since 2019, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the name of the company?
Osman Labs.
Osman Labs.
And it became real thanks to a wealthy philanthropist, also behind Norrsken Mind. Mm-hmm. And we got the funds to do the first trial in Sweden. So the chain of events was something like the philanthropist called Philip, I believe, and Philip called my friend, and my friend called me, and let's start this company.
Fantastic.
Let's make it happen. So we did. And the first trial started, got approved a bit more than 1 year after. Mm-hmm. The results are in press right now. So it's, it takes a lot of time in clinical trials. Yeah. But yeah, so that's how I got started.
Interesting. Since it wasn't that long ago that your views shifted on psychedelics, and to me it's always interesting because you've worked as a chemist for a while. You're an informed person. You're not just some layman who's never heard about these compounds, but you still had these presuppositions. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Prejudices about these substances. How come? Do you know like where your previous views of these substances came from? Is it just the classic propaganda or?
I mean, it's a really good question, and I think much of it, when I think back on it, comes with the illegality of them.
Right.
So this is illegal, this is narcotics, therefore it must be harmful, because we wouldn't prohibit compounds that weren't harmful, right? We wouldn't label them narcotics. So
In a
there was a
perfect
lot of
world.
assumptions going associated with that, with narcotics or Schedule 1.
Yeah.
But then there's also the textbooks in the way that they were mentioned, these compounds. They are mentioned as, powerful and mind-altering compounds with problems of abuse.
Right.
So that's what I had. And also, schizophrenia models. That was the last century idea of, at least in the early days, what you could do with LSD and mescaline and also psilocybin. You could induce something as terrifying as schizophrenia or psychosis for a time. So I think it was that. Mainly, the legality in narcotics, Schedule 1, and then also the little thing that were written in the books. But I should also say that it's, to me, very strange that the good results of last century of alcoholism with LSD, for instance, were mentioned nowhere in the textbooks.
Yeah, it's so fascinating that can happen. It's amnesia, but on a
global level,
community, level, which is kind of crazy, especially in research.
Yeah,
where you would want to build on what has happened in the past, but it was just completely wiped out.
It was a career killer.
Yeah,
and I think a self-protection mechanism of researchers to just steer young colleagues off that road because it wasn't helpful for them.
Yeah, indeed. What are you most excited about in your current work?
So right now I'm working with EU-funded trial. It's SciPal, the biggest grant so far from EU to a 4-site, 19-partner, 8-country, 4-year project, and I'm project manager of that, and was also co-writer, co-author of the application. So that's so fascinating to see how it unfolds. And the thing which makes me really excited about that is that it's, to me, the perfect match between the need of taking society from where we were, not really knowing so much about psychedelics, to now, maybe at the peak or slightly behind the peak of the hype, to actually changing society and incorporating these things. If they are as successful as early trials look like, they should be incorporated in society and healthcare. So that shift doesn't happen just by clinical data of safety and efficacy. There is so much more that needs to happen. And that process, implementation in society, that's what's making me really excited.
Yeah.
And the thing is that these EU projects, the research and innovation actions, as they are called, they're really designed for making society change due to new technologies, new insights, or whatever. So as part of this project, we are what EU calls agents of change. And I think it's a symmetry to that. It's what I see is needed, and it's what's available also through EU funds.
That's beautiful. That is a tricky question. Let's say we're done with the research. We know that the results are good.
Oh, we're not done with the research.
No, we're not yet. But let's say we're past that stage and we know for sure, for instance, psilocybin is a good treatment for depression. Let's just play with the idea
let's assume that
that's in the past. What would be the next step? Like, how would we implement it in society, make it part of our healthcare in a safe way?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many steps to that. One big part, I think, is health economy, which Filippa Sampaio here is talking about at Borealis. Basically understanding what is the cost of the treatment, what are the benefits in terms of euros. I mean, what are the benefits in terms of lost or reduced health costs for healthcare, but also lost income by sick leave, and companies lost profits. There is so many components to the euros. So you need to really carefully balance what is the benefits and cost for society. And I believe when you look at those who hold to the policy-making decisions and those who pay for the treatment, They have to. We are paying them for society to do the best choices possible. So they should really act on the basis of evidence and data. Mm-hmm. But they need that packaged in a way that is quite specific. It's not enough to have all these fantastic graphs, but you need the cost benefit.
Yeah.
So that's a critical component, but it's also about sharing the information. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the right person here, but Tadeusz Havrot, also at Borealis, is really the person to tell how, share this message, this powerful message of the emerging data on psychedelic trials with decision makers, with clinicians, with the general public. So these are two tracks, health economy and policy advocacy, that I would like to highlight much more.
A lot of work.
Yes,
sure.
Yes, but meaningful.
Yes, but also, like you said, it's exciting times to be able to even think about that part of the work.
Yeah.
Just, a decade ago, there was no point in discussing that part yet.
No, true. We are past the pioneer phase now. Yeah. Now it's more, for me at least, it's more about preparing for implementation. It's too early to implement. Well, some parts of the world think it's not too early. Yeah. But in Sweden, for sure, it's too early. And we need to get more data. And there's a lot of good work ahead.
Is this what your presentation here during the summit is about?
So I'm part of a panel speaking about PsyPal. So we spoke about this in some detail, but we also speak about palliative care because that's what PsyPal is focused on.
Right.
It's palliative care, but in a sense, it's also a wider scope of depression treatment. Right. Because we try to catch patients who suffer from a life-shortening illness, life-threatening illness, and are getting depressed by the insight that, hey, I'm not going to live a full life. Right. So we treat that with psilocybin therapy and observe and do what we feel and hope is the best for patients.
Yeah.
So it was about that, the project and implementation in society.
Interesting. And in the general field of psychedelic research, is there something you would like to highlight, something that's exciting today, moving forward, that's going on, that you see around you?
So what I think is relatively new at this conference, I don't think I've seen much talks about it at all, is the research about set and setting. Right. So we have looked at the effects of a compound. As a chemist, I can relate to that. Yeah. Important. Yeah.
Yes.
And at the same time, even in the early days, it was recognized that this is sometimes highly meaningful contents that is emerging in a session with psilocybin, for instance. And sometimes you can need help from a skilled therapist to meet whatever is coming up and integrate that into something that represents meaningful and lasting change in real life. So these two components, the pharmacological and the non-pharmacological or psychotherapeutic components, I love to see that they are actually being tested in practice. So we saw just a ketamine study here. Alexandra Leinonen spoke about a ketamine study where they try to randomize patients to either have just ketamine infusion and no idea or ambition to do anything more than just give the ketamine to the patient. And another group who also gets some, not exactly psychotherapy, but there is an understanding that there can be meaningful contents coming up and opportunities to speak about what it means to the patient. So called the Montreal model. So these two are tested side by side, head to head, and we will see what is most effective. Right. And there is also another trial coming up, hopefully, testing that more specifically, the significance of psychotherapy with psilocybin. So this is what making me really excited. Yeah. It's not the pill. It's not just psychotherapy. It's the combination which is much more complicated and beautiful and potentially helpful.
Indeed. Do they also test set and setting in other ways? Like, for instance, having a psilocybin session in a hospital environment versus in nature or something like that? Is that kind of setting?
That's where it's beginning to become wild, complex, and really crazy, because the parameters are endless.
Yes.
So we would have to start with really simple things,
right?
Like the ketamine study Alexandra spoke about, for instance, biomedical or Montreal model, or psychotherapy or support,
right?
These things. And then, I think there is a Danish study being in planning right now to test the significance of music,
right,
during the session or not. And I think somewhere along the line we will learn enough to understand what is important, and then the journey to fully optimize this would probably be decades, and shift with culture also, shift with context. So it's complex.
So we're not there yet, the kind of research that I'm
the
kind of tests.
I don't think the world can afford it just yet, because it's so many parameters and so many patients would have to be treated in different arms. But we're starting, and it's a huge step.
Yeah, indeed. This conference is a huge step in itself.
That's very true. Yeah, needed.
Absolutely. Where can people find and follow your work if they're interested in seeing how it goes with these studies and all that?
Yeah, so Osmond Labs, I'm actually also a guest researcher at Uppsala University, and that is easy to find.
Yes.
But Osmond Labs is a very small organization. It's basically a purpose economy, not a for-profit company. And we have a LinkedIn page, but so far no web page. But on LinkedIn, you'll find me, and I'll try to post when things are happening that are exciting.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much for sitting down for a chat with me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Much appreciated. And thanks to everyone who is tuning in. My name is Yoshi from the Borealis Psychedelic Science Summit. Catch you next time.